Back on your policy work, and you've been involved with the National Council for Research on Women
for a long time.
Yeah, and I've noticed that they have that part of their programs include work on domestic policy issues as well as global policy issues. And I was wondering, where is your focus?
Oh, my focus is primarily domestic. But when I was still at the Women's Research and Education Institute, I spent a lot of time overseas in Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union, and then in China for the UN Women's Conference. That was the first time I was introduced to the UN. I didn't know anything about the UN before 1994, I guess. So there were a couple of things that I became aware of doing that international work. First is that international women know a lot more about the United States than anybody in the United States knows about anybody overseas, right? That they sort of come to the table, like being able to tell you your life story before you even open your mouth. And so it was a space where I felt incredibly ignorant and very uncomfortable with sort of that lack of knowledge. Because I also went with, and it was very painful to acknowledge this sense of American privilege, of U.S. privilege, right? That I had never acknowledged before I went overseas. And so sort of being in this space where I'm interacting with people who know more about the United States than I know about their country, I'm in their country, and I'm thinking, you know, when I first went to, I was trying to get from Russia to Ukraine, and I got on the wrong plane. And I went to Latvia instead. Because, of course, the ticket's in Cyrillic, it's not in English, right? And I get off the plane, and the person at customs does not speak English. And they're not letting me in, and I'm sitting saying, I'm an American, I have work to do here, right? Looking back on it, it's like so ridiculous. And after maybe an hour of arguing with this guy, he finally says, go on. Like, he's like, let her in there, she has no idea what she's doing, she thinks she's in Ukraine, she's in Latvia, and, so sort of like this, and then of course I get in, and there's no car, because of course it's in Kiev waiting for me, and I'm in Riga, and so it's like this, all of this stuff that I never thought I possessed came out, and it was, I'm sure not the most unattractive American who's ever been over there and had something happen, but it was so much what I did not think of myself that way, right? Being as progressive as I am. And so that experience of being overseas when being a black person in these countries was not cool, right? So a lot of negative things happened while I was traveling over there. But I learned so much, and I am very. I learned so much, and I still have friends there, and so it's informed my understanding of women's issues, in that we sort of have so much in common all over the world. So that's sort of where it started, and I'm hoping that with the women's programs, obviously, we're thinking about maybe doing some work on trafficking and. Other like domestic violence internationally, sort of some more work around that. The UN is a great place. It's just a wonderful, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it continues, how the U.S. relationship with the UN continues to develop.